Alrighty, today we're going to be upgrading this Specna Arms X Series AEG. Right now it's 100% stock. I don't think he's done a single thing to it. It does have a gate aster in it, and I'm going to be saving all the parts I take out to give back to him, just because he wants them. For the parts we're going to be using in this build, I'm going to be using for the Mosfet a Perun V2 hybrid. In my opinion, this is the absolute best Mosfet you can get for 75 bucks. I've installed probably 7 or 8 of them so far with 0 issues, and they work very well and perfectly consistent with 0 issues, unlike the Aster, which is in it right now, in the one I'm upgrading right now. This will be way more reliable. I'm using a T238 39K brushless motor in this build. It should work really well. I've actually never used this before, but we'll see how it works. I'm using the Real Deal Airsoft reinforced piston, full metal rack. I really like this cylinder head he has. It has lots of, like, I forget what they're called, but they're basically ports that when the piston rushes forward, it flares out the O-ring. It has a lot of them, so, and the air seal's incredibly good. And I lightened it, so it cycles faster. I'm going to be using the Rocket Airsoft SHS Shims, normal things. This is a Maxx curved, fully tunable trigger, and that's going to work really well. I'm using a high-speed delay chip from Real Deal Airsoft as well. This is a Maple Leaf Omega hop tensioner. It has a curved nub surface, so it puts a curved pressure on the BB instead of flat. We'll see how this works. It might not work with the hop-up unit, but I don't see why it won't, so we're going to run with that. And for the bucking, we're using a Maple Leaf Mr. Hop bucking. It's basically our hop that is in a bucking form, so you don't have to add glue or whatever to the barrel. These are 8mm CNC bushings from Real Deal Airsoft as well. I'm going to be replacing the bearings in the gearbox with these, just because bearings are going to break down with high stress builds much faster than bushings. Bushings will never wear down. And then for the gears, we're using SHS 13-to-1s and short stroke 2 teeth, because the barrel on this gun is very, very short, so he doesn't need all that extra air, and he's not shooting like 0.4 gram BBs or anything, so this will work really well. Alrighty, so the first step is going to be obviously to disassemble this. So I'll probably just fast forward to that part because I've never actually disassembled this before, so it might take me a little bit of time to learn the nuances of this PDW stock, so yeah. Alrighty, so we finally got the gearbox out of the gun. It was actually harder than it looked. The safeties, like the safety gears, were a little strange, but I think I got it, and it should be straightforward from here. Normal quick change, so I'm gonna disassemble the gearbox and we'll get right down to upgrading and saving the parts. I'm gonna take everything out, clean it, and then upgrade it.
Moments later, more moments later, later in the void.
Alrighty, finally got it open. This is what it looks like. This is the Orion gearbox with the gate aster, the stock gate aster. Yes, the lube is miserable lube. It's like super sticky and gross. It has the quantum trigger, as you can see, the aster specific trigger. So yeah, I'm gonna take everything out, clean the gearbox out so it's ready for shimming, and then check all the parts compatibility. Then I'll shim, add the Mosfet, and then assemble everything back together. Okay. 2 empty gearbox shells. Now they're empty. I'm gonna go wash these out, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we got our 2 nice clean gearbox shells. Nice and beautiful. Nice. They're pretty slim. They look like basically like retro arms bushings, which are nice, so they should work really well. Let me take. Best way to take these out is probably just brute force. So here we go. Let's take this and see how this would like to punch. Just like that. That worked perfectly. I'm just sticking them in the bearing hole and knocking these bearings out. Perfect. Nice bearingless holes. And I'll stick these. These are actually pretty nice bearings. They'll work for like a, maybe like a higher or a lower torque, for lower torque gears. I like using bushings for high torque gears and bearings for lower torque gears, like 18 to 1s and above. And then we're gonna install these. Just like that. All the bushings are installed perfectly. Next, we're going to work on the shimming. I don't want to do the Mosfet until after the shimming because then we'll have all the wires in the way. So first step to shimming is, I'm not sure if I won't record the whole shimming process because it's going to be a long process, not a really long process, maybe like 20 minutes, but I'll just show the process a little bit along the way, and then, yeah, and I'll show you the final result. Step to shimming is getting the bevel gear, setting the motor height with the bevel gear. So, and then also shimming the first side of the bevel gear, which is this side, and shimming it to the motor. So this goes like this, just like this. And then the first thing to do is take out our motor, and we're going to attach this like this. Then we're going to run this motor into the grip, obviously without wires, and we're going to close up this end of this, just like it would if it had wires on it and everything was running normally. Had this problem before, where it kind of jams up, just like that. And then what we do is we look at it in line with the motor, and as this motor height is way too low, like the motor is too far back and needs to come up closer towards the axle of this bevel gear, and that motor height is perfect. I'm not sure if you can see very well, but right in there the autofocus doesn't really like focusing, but that's the perfect. You want the outside edge of the pinion gear on the motor to be on the outside edge of the bevel gear. So the next step is shimming the bevel gear height to the pinion gear height on the motor. Alrighty, so I finally got the shimming done. It's spinning out a little bit. They sometimes will have a little meshing problems if the spacing isn't perfect, but spinning perfectly. Y'all probably can't see, but it's working pretty well. Now I'm going to move on to the piston assembly and making sure everything seals up correctly there. This is the real deal piston head. This is just the stock assembly. It's a double O-ring cylinder head, and it's an O-ring nozzle. Perfect air seal. Couldn't be more pleased about that. It'll work very, very nicely. The AOE on this is also absolutely perfect. Not sure if you can see very well, but that's perfect AOE. A quick trick to getting your trigger spring to stay in place is just add a tiny dot of super glue in that little hole and insert it just like that, and then it's not enough to make it permanent, but it does keep it in place while you assemble the gearbox, which is very helpful. Here we have my parts box. Every part ever made in Airsoft, including the screw I need, which is that one. Alrighty, so I got everything back together. This is what it looks like right now. Pretty beautiful. I have to get this the trigger plate on, obviously, but then after that, it's all just reassembly and should be done. Everything's working perfectly. Alright, here's what it sounds like right now. After I put everything together. This is a super crispy build. I'll put it back together and then hopefully be able to upload some videos of it shooting. Nextly and lastly, I'm going to be disassembling the hop-up and putting in the Mr. Hop nub, or Mr. Hop bucking and Mr. Hop nub. It's night right now, so I'm not gonna be able to test it for accuracy. So I'll have to wait until the morning to do that. Let's take this out, just complete disassembly, because we're pretty much replacing every part inside of here. Very slippery. These actually have a pretty good hop in them already. They have a flat hop. But I'm actually going to just use the flat hop that's already in here with the Mr. Hop, because I think the Omega with the R hop might be a bit strange. Like, I don't think it's going to feed well, because I've had some trouble with the Omega nub before. But yes. Here we go. Omega nub. Where are you? Omega nub. Yes. Mr. Hop nub. What I'm actually gonna do is clean this barrel out quick. Alrighty, now that the barrel's nice and clean, I'm just gonna stick this nub on. You can use oil on the outside of the barrel if you want to get the nub on if it's not sliding very well, but most of the time it slides on really easily. And it's usually best to not get oil near your barrel area, just for accuracy reasons. Beautiful. Should work quite well. Where did the flat hop nub? Okay, flat hop nub's already in there, perfect. So I'm just gonna stick this back in. Just get this little clamp down on there. And then we're gonna stick this onto here like this. This is a pretty crappy stock hop-up unit, but I don't usually like upgrading the hop-up units just because they're, at least in my experience, they've been very finicky and hard to tune right. Like, they oftentimes misfeed like crazy. So, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna stick this back into here. I don't know what that was. Okay, that was my grease. That's not great, but okay. Just like that, the build is complete, and I'll just have to wait until tomorrow to test it. But what the heck? That sounds gorgeous. Can't wait to test it out.